have some pinch hitters in the room right now. We don't have a lot of time anyway, but talk about the A-team like we were talking about earlier. What's what we have right now? We have Michelle Hodges, the president of Meyer Vacation Rentals, which is a company that manages over 1,150 properties in Gulf Shores. We have Heather Bayer, which I don't think needs an introduction. She has a podcast, a property management company. She's out there. I think most of you have heard her speak before. And then we have Matt Landau. Matt Landau hosts Sense of Place. He also is the founder of the Inner Circle and BRMB. So thank you guys for doing this. What we're going to do is we're going to do a little rapid fire questions about the future of the vacation rental industry. So, are you ready? That would be a no. So, Matt, as you've been looking...
The future is female.
The future is female. Yes, it is. Right answer. So looking at a lot of the challenges that have been going on in the industry, everyone talks about the pace of change and how that pace of change has escalated. Do you agree with that statement? That there's been a lot of recent change in the vacation rental industry or more rapid change in the industry than you've seen in the past?
I think more travelers are staying in vacation rentals for the first time every single year upon year upon year. And so the demand for vacation rentals year upon year is greater, and the responsibility for the hosts each year is greater, and that brings lots more money to the industry. So I think, yes, certainly the change is fast and furious, and if you don't go with it, it can burn you.
Along those lines, Heather, we've been talking a lot about is a lot of property managers that I talk to on a pretty regular basis feel pretty overwhelmed right now. It's like keeping up with everything right now feels almost impossible, and it's just like it's just almost that feeling like I'll never get a handle on this anymore. Are you feeling like that, or have you seen that in the people that you interview?
I see this, all the time. People are coming with, have you noticed my voice is going even deeper? It's deeper than Matt's now. Everybody I'm speaking to. Certainly those who are property managers, but I also talk to a lot of independent owners who are starting out, and to me, the independent owners are, they're the future property managers, and they are dealing with so many challenges now that they've got to take into their next phase of this industry, and it's tough.
What do you think those specific challenges, like getting more granular on that, what do you think the most difficult challenges are right now?
I would say to be seen, to actually be seen, to be unique, to stand out amongst the gazillion other the competition they have. I mean, I remember when I started out in the industry, and many of us here in our locations, there were half a dozen, 20 properties, 30 properties, and now there's 500, 600, 700, 1,000 properties. That's what they're seeing. How do they rise above that and get seen?
Michelle, you've actually, in our last one, we just sat down and talked to you yesterday, whatever day that was. You said the pace of change has escalated for you. How has that changed for you at Meyer?
The example that I gave yesterday was, so I came on board full-time 13 years ago. So I was on the tail end of what we called our Treasures of the Gulf, which was our rental magazine. And when I think about that, I think about how static our policies were, our processes, right? So we knew every single thing that was going to happen of significance for our business in the course of a year. We knew what our owner acquisition sense of urgency had to be in order to get them in that magazine. We knew when it had to hit the print. We knew when it had to go out in the mail, and we knew when it was going to start arriving, who was going to start calling to book, and we knew it there. So we had that booking window. We knew what their booking trends were. They were going to book a specific length of time, and we were going to sell out of our season, and things change. They're less predictable. You have to pivot was a big word in our last session. So that that consistency or being able to anticipate that the decisions that you make today are going to be the same ones you make tomorrow is kind of out the door. You really have to pay attention and stay on top of your game. That's probably, for me, I think, the biggest change since 13 years ago.
I wanted to ask you a question about the Women's Summit while we're here. What has been the most interesting thing to you that you've gotten out of it for your business?
Let me be honest.
Yeah.
I don't do this,
No.
y'all. I don't do women's stuff. In my mind, I'm just being honest. And so Amy told me about this quite some time ago, and I was...
You just looked at me like dead air.
I was like, I will be there to provide you feedback and my thoughts. I have no problem giving my opinion. I'll be happy to do that for you. But just in general, I think... I don't know. I've just never really done anything specifically woman-geared because I've never really thought that there was a need to differentiate or make that distinction, really. So I love continuing education and learning and developing. I just haven't really. So if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be here, I'm telling you. But this has been, I said it earlier in Tim's little microphone that he was running around here with, it's blown my mind. From the moment that I arrived and got out of the car and the way that we were welcomed here, the energy was so noticeable because of the group of individuals that we have here. It's blown me away. I keep saying the energy and the vibe is just insane, and it's honestly made it one of the best conferences I have ever attended.
Yay.
Thank you.
And you don't do women's stuff. You don't. Heather, same question for you. I mean, you've been to a lot, and you host one that Heather and I are hosting a conference together in November in Orlando called the Vacation Rental Women's Summit.
I agree wholeheartedly with Michelle. I came out with exactly the same thoughts when you started this, because I don't do women's stuff. I'm actually very uncomfortable at conferences anyway. I'm truly an introvert. You would not believe it, but I quite like to go hiding away in a room on my own, and I'm not totally comfortable with large groups of people. And you said a couple of days ago, and I think it went out on the Facebook group, about being kind. We have a responsibility, those of us who are here, speaking perhaps, and the volunteers, and also everybody else that was on that group. We have a responsibility to be kind to one another. And I have found this to be the kindest conference I've ever been to. I have not seen...
Thank you for that, by the way. I really do appreciate you guys keeping this in no judgment or judgment-free zone. And I feel like it has been. I feel very embraced and lucky to be a part of this.
And I haven't seen anybody sitting on their own, busily working away at their laptops because nobody's talking to them. And I know some of the larger conferences, not our Vacation Rental Success Summit, which we will deliver together. Some of the larger conferences, you can feel very alone. And I don't think anybody, tell me, does anybody felt alone this last 2 days? I don't think so. So again, I missed that. Oh. Some man back there, apparently.
I know. Blair's never alone.
Thank you, Amy, for bringing that kindness.
Well, I want to ask you, Matt, being a guy, as you are, we received some criticism. Was there ever a point that you looked at this and felt like this was the wrong thing to do, to create a women's summit? Or did you ever think to yourself, did you ever feel like you wouldn't be welcome here?
Certainly not.
You can tell the truth.
Certainly not. No, not at all. And I had always sensed, I always felt that women kind of made the vacation rental industry what it was, but I never had any statistics to show that. I never had any statistics or reports to show that, female strengths happen to coincide perfectly with hospitality. I just never came across anything like that. I always sensed it, but I think just here it's been proven. You have hundreds of people in here proving it every single day. So, yeah, amazing.
So Heather, I'm gonna ask you really quick. Well, Matt, you keep it. I'll put you on the hot seat. 2 predictions for the industry. 2020 vacation rental industry. What changes by 2020?
I have a theory.
Is it the theory of limited edition?
How did you know?
I may have written about it.
I have a theory that as the vacation rental industry grows exponentially, owners and managers are forced to choose between one of 2 kinds of businesses. The first is the commodity business, and that should not be looked down upon by any means. It's the baseline standards that any great industry needs. It's a fully equipped kitchen, it's great thread count sheets, it's being accessible to your guests, and I believe that is one side of the industry that a manager could choose. The other side checks off all of the commodity boxes, but does something that only they can do really well and that cannot be replicated by anybody other than themselves. And intentionally focusing on the things that cannot be replicated is really the magic of where everything is going. And I call that the limited edition vacation rental business. I believe that is the perfect timing for travelers who are seeking experiences and these limited edition kinds of vacations. So I think that if you do associate with that kind of business and you choose to focus on your own strengths that nobody else can do, now is maybe the best time in history to be in the hospitality industry as a professional. That's kind of like 2.
It's kind of like 2 in 1.
Does that count as 2?
It does.
Okay, good.
Heather, for you, same question. 2 things you
can
think
I do
are
2 in 1 as well?
probably, since we're not discriminating at this conference.
I've noticed as I've been driving across your wonderful country over the past 6 weeks, and I've been going through small towns. And as I'm driving through, I've got my laptop and I open them up and I go to Airbnb and I go to VRBO and I look to see how many rentals are in these places. And I've been blown away with some of the places that I never have imagined there would be a market for vacation rentals. Now, I don't know if anybody here is from Midland, Texas, but it's on I-20. It's right in the middle of the Permian Basin. It is oil from end to end. And yet there are dozens of vacation rentals. And when I went through the reviews, and I thought, why are people coming to this place? And the reviews people were saying, this was a great place to come and stay and bring our family to stay with our son, father, brother who's working in the oil fields. And it just got me thinking that this is just such an explosion in this industry that's going to go on, and more people are going to be buying properties in such different areas and niche markets, because it doesn't matter where you are now. As long as it's legal, you can rent out a property and there will be a market for it. And I think that's the big change that I'm seeing. It was where, when I came into the industry, and I'm sure you've seen, it was all destination markets. And now it's Hocking Hills, Ohio. It's Bisbee, Arizona. It's Union, Missouri. Tyann, that's a shout out to you. Marthasville. Just all these little places you may never have heard of. But that's where I think it's going to happen, is that more and more investors are coming in. They're going to see these opportunities and they're going to take them up. And these are opportunities for everybody in this room as either an owner or investor or as a property manager to see that the business is spreading.
Michelle, same question to you. What does this business look like in 2020?
So it kind of mirrors what both of these guys are saying, and I think it mirrors what the takeaway from this conference is for me anyway. When I first got into I won't say industry, but when I came on board full-time all those years ago and went to maybe my first conference, I sensed, going back to Miss Gilbert, a lot of fear, right? So 10, 13 years ago, there was, so back then we were on RMS, we converted to Property Plus. It was someone that we knew. They sold out to a huge company, right, when HomeAway bought Property Plus, and then we had the emergence of them buying VRBO, and then what is this competition that I'm suddenly doing business with someone on a property management level that's now my competitor, and there was just so much fear. What does this mean? All of this new entrance and the disruption in the industry. For years, I felt like we spent a lot of time talking about what it meant to us, how we were going to work in an industry with all that going on, and how it was going to balance out, and if we would come out on top, or if we were losing our edge and our industry was disappearing and being taken over. And when we get together now, in the past couple of days, what we talk about is the power that we bring to this industry. And it doesn't exist without us. The experience that we provide, the care, the relationships, that connection between the host and the guest, the host and the owner, the trust factor is valuable. And I think we went a lot of years not recognizing that in ourselves, and your speakers and the conference in general, the conversation, that's back. I feel like we as property managers have confidence in ourselves, and we value what we bring to the table. So I think moving forward, as that grows, that balance is coming back to the industry, and we're realizing the place that we hold here.
100% agree with you. I think that is realizing who we are, or where the property manager falls in the ecosystem. That place is getting more solidified and more propped up, more escalating across the board. I think, as you said, the professional homeowners are becoming professional managers, and the people who are not professionally managing their own home are moving to professional managers. And I think it's going to be a really great next couple of years in this industry. Because we are out of time, I will say that all three of these people are people that you can reach to ask questions to, and they know a ton about the industry.